Every day, you essentially pay your dues by doing the harder thing when it's the right thing to do. Hey everyone, Dave here from Shift, and doing a little bit of a different podcast today because the last month or two has been a whirlwind for me in terms of getting ready for the symposium. I've been traveling a ton. I've been doing a lot of consulting work, and there's a lot of information swimming around in my brain about what I feel like would help people a ton right now. Where I'm filming this, it's in June, just started June, so end of May, start of June, and just based on a lot of conversations I've had with a lot of college coaches, a lot of club coaches, a lot of strength coaches, a lot of really high level medical providers in the last month gearing up for the symposium. There's a lot of things in my mind that I'm like, man, I want to package this. I want to give this to people because if they heard it right now and they could use it, it'd be really, really beneficial. And so rather than kind of, letting it sit for a couple of weeks and doing a big thought out process and a long podcast and a big 2-hour outline and kind of going really, really deep or long on a topic like this, I'd rather just kind of share this with you right now while it's literally in my journal or in what I'm doing right now, in hopes that it will help everybody prepare for this upcoming off season and the next year. So long story short is that the main topic of discussion I've had with a lot of people is that whether it is trying to change the performance outcome of how states and regionals and nationals and elite qualifiers went, or whether it is trying to change the outcome of injuries, whether it's back pain that somebody couldn't really get to the end of season, or they had a hip issue or wrist problems, or someone tore their Achilles, or someone had some sort of surgery, to change that outcome too and reduce the risk of those things obviously happening again down the road or getting over those things quicker. Really, I think what sometimes is missed is that the opportunity in the time that has to be worked on is right now. So when I'm saying this, it's in June. End of May, typically after states, regionals, nationals, that grind goes on for college gymnasts. When they kind of get past finals, they get past their last meet, they get a couple 2 to 4 weeks to deload and rest, which I think is really, really important. Get through their schooling, calm down. Right now, it's just about getting out of school for a lot of high school kids, which is why I wanted to do this right now. This is definitely the time to recover, right? To give yourself 2 to 4 weeks of off and or deloaded to get your body right, get your mind right, kind of calm things down. But on the backbone of that, June and July is without a doubt the most important opportunity for anyone in gymnastics to be successful next year in championship season or in the end of their year, or move up in level, or get a new skill, or just get through another year of adult gymnastics healthy and having fun, right? I think a lot of people, what's happening is they kind of get through preseason. Right now, usually how it happens is they kind of float through this 2-month period. They're kind of doing skills. They're kind of doing strength. They're kind of getting together and getting their pieces all in one big opportunity to move forward. And they get those pieces, then they move forward. And then preseason or the August time comes, they go, oh no. And they go really hard. They try to get all their skills, they try to get stronger, they try to get their power. Then preseason comes, the whirlwind comes of grinding and pushing, getting ready for meet season. Boom, it's meet season, then it's championship season, and things unfortunately maybe don't go the way you want. So I think what happens is, instead of having that mindset, is right now you have to realize that this is the opportunity, particularly June and then July is the biggest chance to really get strong, really get new skills, really dial in those basics and kind of revisit all those baseline foundational concepts that are boring and grunt work, but are really, really important. And also, it's really the best time to prepare your body and get a lot of extra capacity built up, to really have enough in the tank to get through the next year. So I want to share what I've been sharing with these college coaches, with the elite coaches that I'm working with the consulting stuff around the world, in terms of trying to give them the best advice I possibly can. So I just have 5 things here I want to share. They'll be quick. They won't be super in depth. This will be a short podcast with digestible information. So number 1 is, during this time right now, you need to kind of have a hard conversation around, okay, what went well? What did not go well? So the good, the bad, the ugly, right? What you need to do is sit down with your coaching staff and also your parents and or your gymnast. And with the gymnast, I like to sit down and say, okay, what went well? What went well from the year? What did you like? What was good about training? What was awesome? What was enjoyable? And then what didn't go well? What do we need to work on? What things maybe were rocky? What things do you not think are going well from a cultural or a technical or a strength conditioning or a meet prep point of view? And just have that open conversation with, completely non-judgmental, try to be calm, try to be professional, think about attacking or critiquing ideas and not people themselves. Just have that open, fluid conversation. Then also try to plan to meet one-on-one with each gymnast or athlete that you work with, 15 to 20 minutes, touch base, same kind of idea. What went well? What didn't go well? What can we improve upon? What do you need to maybe work on your own accountability? Are there things you notice across the whole team we have to work on? Just have that big group conversation and then have those little individual conversations and do the same thing with your coaching staff or your team. What was good? What was bad? What do we need to work on? What should we do again? That was great. What should we fix that we didn't really have a great execution on? And also meeting with like any medical providers, any strength coaches, any, parents, obviously in the club level. Just have that conversation, right? Right now, when this episode comes out, you should be trying to have those meetings and or planning those meetings, okay? So that needs to happen first, okay? From those meetings, then you go and you say, okay, what are the 3 biggest rocks? What are the 3 actionable items that we need to work on right now? For a lot of people, that is some sort of cultural thing, like we need to kind of get some jigsaw puzzle pieces together on coaching staff, coaching issues, relationships, communication, like those kind of things. Number 2 is almost always strength and conditioning and some sort of, preparation work. So what are we doing for the summer to get a strength program? What are we going to do for exercises? Are we going to lift? When are we going to lift? How long are we going to lift for? Do we need a strength coach? Like getting that in place is super duper important because that is where the most strength gains can be made, is that hybrid program between lifting and doing an in-gym model. Right now at Champion, we have 10 new gymnasts that have just joined from college or from club that they're starting to live with us. That's great. They're enjoying it, but we're doing that right now. So we need to have that in our minds too about, okay, from a strength and conditioning point of view, what do we need to do to have a really successful summer program? And then 3, it always comes down to some sort of technical and or developmental progression. So what do we need to do to revisit basics? Do we have issues with cast handstands? Is it lines? Is it core strength? Is it basics of tumbling? Is it ring strength? Like there's so many things it could be, but what were our big kind of bottlenecks from a performance point of view? And how do we dial that all the way back to the most basics of the basics, right? Shout out Nick Ruddick for all his work that we use, but do we need lines? Do we need basic tumbling? Do we need handstand development? Do we need handstand holding on bars? Do we need basic tap swings? Do we need calf strength? Do we need kip compression for younger levels in kip casting? Do we need basic vaulting and sprinting drills, right? What do we need to have a common denominator that everything will get better? So take a big step back from those meetings and think about, okay, what 3 rocks? What things from a cultural point of view? What things from a physical preparation or strength and conditioning point of view? And what things from a technical development point of view? From there, now the next step is just exactly what I'm telling people to do, right? Again, coaches at the college level, the elite level, whoever else it is. Okay, with those big 3 rocks, 1, do you have the knowledge and education to fix those big rocks? If you do, mazel tov, get going, right? Like get right after it. Put the right drills in place, put the right progressions in place, talk about how long you're going to be on events and what you're going to do for strength. Like if you have that knowledge and that ability to do those programs because you are really good at it, go crazy, right? And please get to work right away. If you don't, though, and that takes a little bit of humble pie, if you don't think, I'm really good at strength and conditioning and I'm really good at technical development, but I don't really know a ton about energy systems or cardio development. I don't know a ton about, mental sports performance and maybe some fueling for performance on the nutrition side. Who are the people in my network or online that I can work with, AKA pay, to consult with to teach me what I need to know to be successful? So do I need to work with mental health providers? Do I need to work with sports nutritionists? Do I need to work with strength and conditioning coaches? Do I need to work with experts in culture development? Do I need to read books? Do I need to listen to podcasts? What do I need to do to learn the information that is a knowledge gap if I don't possess those skills right now? Okay, so you make a list of maybe you're delegating that. Maybe you're spreading across your coaching staff and, hey, you're going to tackle some vault drills online. Hey, you're going to follow some great strength and conditioning professionals that we have and listen to some podcasts, right? There's enormous amounts of resources all over the internet that you can find, right? So that is the third step. Is once you kind of figure out, okay, what are we going to tackle first? You go, who do we need to find to do this? What can we do to find the right person to give us this education for what we need to be successful in this next phase of our gymnastics training program, which is going to be the off season. Okay. And then from there, you need to actually build the blocks of your summer training. Okay. So now you know what you need to learn. You've gone out and you're doing the work to learn it. 2 weeks go by and you dedicate 2 to 3 hours per day to learn. All right. From there, okay, what does it actually look like? How many days per week? How much time on events? How long are our strength circuits? How long are our flexibility circuits? Inside those time blocks, who's coaching what? Where are we coaching? What equipment? Who has the right, drill and skill progression that we're going to use? How are we going to teach this? Do we need to teach the coaching staff how to teach this? Do we need to teach the younger coaches who are brand new for the summer about this great backward roll progression or this handstand progression that we want to use with our class kids, right? Like those need to happen right now. The trainings, the educations, the implementations, the actual building of the schedule, like that needs to be hopefully on the way. But if it's not, you got to work really hard to get that done ASAP so that you don't find yourself trying to jump off the cliff and build a plane on the way down in the middle of summer starting, right? When school gets out and the kids actually come back, whether it's before 4th of July or after, and you have a full day of 3 events and 45 minutes on each event. You don't need to be like, okay, what drills am I going to do? And like, what are we doing for a strength program? Like, oh, let's write some stuff on the whiteboard. Like, let's look at a podcast real quick. Or like, let's try to find some stuff online. Like, you need to use the time right now when this podcast is coming out to do this, to block things together. Who's working? Who's on what event? What equipment do we have? What are we teaching? What are the drills? What are the progressions? Do I know what the excellent mastery version of this drill looks like so that I can teach the athletes, right? Do I have an issue with communication, right? Of actually delivering those lectures well, those messages well, those drill circuits well, okay? So all that stuff needs to happen right now. And then lastly, you need to figure out, okay, how are we going to actually do this and still have time for the basics and technique and core and strength and lines and shaping? Like that should be a massive percentage of what you're doing when you first get back to the gym is mastering basics. Perfect lines, perfect handstands, perfect progressions. Do I know where to look? Do I know where to put my hands? Do I know where to teach the athletes what to do with their body shaping, right? Like the ultimate win is going to be if somebody can really hammer down their basics and drills in the beginning part of the summer, really crush their strength program, and really make sure they have the right team of the right resources for education to actually implement things on a cultural and a physical preparation level. So that's really all I wanted to say is that's I want to say those are the 5 steps that I'm consulting people who are I'm very grateful that are paying me money for my time, that I'm working with very high level programs at a very high level around the world, around the college programs. This is what I'm telling them to do. And rather than hold on to it and make some long lecture that's, somebody has to find down the road, I'd rather just tell you straight up about what I would do if I was in those shoes. Okay. So just as a review, I would take time to meet with your groups and with your athletes about what was good, what was bad, what needs to change, what needs to stay the same. 2, I would pick 3 big rocks out of those things. And I would be like, okay, how are we going to tackle these things first? What are the 3 things we need from a cultural, physical preparation, or a strength and a technique point of view? And then from 3, I would find either the people on my staff who have that knowledge, and I would ask them to help me make a program, or I would reach out and find the strength coach, the nutritionist, the mental health provider, the medical doctor, the physical therapist, right? The guest lecture coach to come in and teach this vault drill, whatever it is. I would find those people and I would start building out those infrastructures now. Okay. I would then formulate all the actual nuts and bolts of how many days per week are we training, how much time on those events, how much is for flexibility, how much is for strength, what coaches are going to be on the schedule, who is going to work those hours, do they have the knowledge and the expertise to actually deliver that material well, do they know what excellent looks like and what high standards look like, make sure those are all in place. And then I would say, okay, how am I going to make sure I fit in time for basics and drills and progressions, which for me always comes down to the first 15 to 30 minutes of the warm-up and lines and execution of really good basics, but also side stations on all the events. So I think that's all really important to remember. A little bonus here is that like, okay, sounds good, but nobody wants to do it and change. How do I actually get people to change? Okay. And the way you actually do that to get people motivated, to get people on board is 1, you listen and you respect their ideas. You understand that they have a valuable input from the coaching staff or the parent or the gymnast point of view so that they're heard and they trust what you're doing. And they trust they're part of a culture that cares about their input. But 2 is you reverse engineer their goals. You say, okay, well, what do you want out of this? What went well last year you'd like to repeat? What didn't go well that you'd like to maybe not repeat? How do you get there? And they say, well, I want to learn this skill, or I want to not be as hurt at the end of the year. I want to win this championship. I want to get a scholarship. I want to just get through a competitive season and have fun and not even worry about the skills and the levels. I just want to enjoy it. You reverse engineer those goals into smaller steps of what needs to happen on a week to week or month to month basis. And then you dial those back even more and you say, okay, well, this is what needs to happen on a day-to-day basis or a moment-to-moment basis when you're making choices about cheating on that strength versus doing that strength, or showing up practice early 15 minutes to take care of your soft tissue work and your prep before the warm-up, or making sure your schedule is blocked so that you're not going to be in the beach till 5 in the afternoon, then come here to the gym and be a complete, exhausted monster when you come onto bars. All those conversations are reverse engineering their goals, what they want out of gymnastics, what they want out of the next year, not what you are forcing them to do because you're the quote unquote coach or the quote unquote parent or the quote unquote team captain. Okay. If you want them to actually be involved, listen to what they have to say, respect their ideas, get them involved, make it a culture built around communication and trust, and then actually reverse engineer their goals and map a plan to why what you're doing right now in the next 2 to 4 weeks will help start that in motion. Okay. So quick 15-minute podcast. All I wanted to share is just those little things. And so I hope it's useful. I hope it's helpful. If you're listening to this and you're going to be at the symposium, I can't wait. I hope to see you there. And if not, we'll catch you guys on the next episode where we start to go back into longer form stuff after a small break that we all need a little bit at the symposium. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. I hope you guys are doing well. And I really am excited to see you guys on the other side. Take care.